Okay, we're going to look at 6.09 real quick, this assignment, which is composition of tone rows. And tone rows are really easy because you just have to come up with an order of 12 notes that you're going to use over and over again, forwards and backwards. So what we have here is all of our chromatic notes. You can't use this order, all right? You can't use A sharp, B, because that's right in order. We don't want that. We want to be interesting. So before this video, I made my own tone row. And here you see I have all of these notes, and what I did is I would write it and then I would highlight it up here. That way you could see, I would know that I used all the notes. So my order is C sharp, B, E, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, G sharp, C, D, G, F. They all go in order, they use all notes in the chromatic scale. And so that's step one, is to create that. And then it tells me to write it in retrograde, which just means backwards. So I just have to go F, G, D, C, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, A, F sharp, E, B, C sharp. So you see, pretty easy. We just go backwards from the original tone row we completed. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this tone row because that's part of our instructions. So part one is done. Part two, here are our instructions. We have to create a 12 tone row that is at least 32 measures, okay? Include the original tone row in the first four measures, okay? Present the time or the prime or original tone row in the first four measures, okay? Use the tone row at least 4 times. Write the tone row in retrograde or backwards at least 1 time during the composition. Include an appropriate title. So whatever your song ends up being, you can create a fun title. Include a time signature, a key signature. Use notes and rests. You can't just do all whole notes or all quarter notes or all half notes. You have to use rests and different rhythms. And 5 articulation markings and 5 dynamic markings and appropriate tempo. So let's go over to our music notation software. You're going to have Finale. I'm using one called MuseScore. It's going to look different, but I'm telling you the steps are the same. Okay, so title. The title's easy. The name of our retrograde has to be in the title. And then we can create a composer, would be your name. We'll go next. We'll do treble clef. We'll do our key signature, just leave it at C major, which is no sharps and no flats. Okay? And then our time signature, you can leave it at 4/4. And then there's going to be an option that says, how many measures do you want it to be? Well, our composition has to be 32 measures, so we might as well just leave it at 32, right? So you know when you're done, you're done. So 32 measures. Finish, and here we go. So I have 32 measures written here. I have the tone row up here, and then I have your name, or it's going to be your name up in the corner. And so it tells us we have to put the tone row in the first 4 measures, the first instance of the tone row. So we have to 1, 2, 3, 4. So by this measure right here, we have to have all of these notes. And the thing about tone rows is the notes always have to go in order. So if you write a C sharp, the next note has to be a B. That makes it easy because you don't have to think about which note to put next. So we have to use rhythms and rests. So let's just start with a half note. Why not? So I'm going to do C, put my note in, C, and then I'll make it sharp. C sharp. So then my next note has to be a B. So let's make the rhythm 8th notes here, and we'll do B, and it has to be an E. And here's the thing about these notes is it doesn't have to be a high E or a low E. It can be either one. So I could put the E up here, or I could put this E all the way down here. So that's top space E, and this is bottom line E. So it could be either E. So let's leave it at the bottom. And then here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave a rest. Okay? I'm going to leave a rest here and the next measure. So I played E was my last note, so now I need an F sharp. Let's jump up to the high one. Why not? F sharp, and we'll go A sharp, D sharp. Let's go low D sharp. We'll do a G, sharp because that's our next note, right? So let's double check. We have C sharp, B, E, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, G sharp. So I have one measure, two measures. I'm on my third measure right now. I'm on my third rectangle. So I need a C, a D, a G, and an F. So watch this. I'm going to leave a measure of rest because I think that will be interesting. And I'm just going to end with 4 quarter notes. C, D, G, F. We have one instance of our tone row now, right? We have C sharp, B, E, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, G sharp, C, D, G, F. That's one instance. That's one. So I need 3 more of those according to my instructions. 3 more instances. So let's just listen to it and see what we have so far. All right. I think that sounds awesome. So we have to have at least one instance of retrograde, right? So we have to write it backwards at least one time. So let's just do that right away. Let's just knock that out and get that requirement done. So we have to start with an F and go backwards through our tone row for this instance. So let's do some eighth notes. So, oops, let's leave that as a quarter note. And we're going to go over one. And we're going to start with an eighth rest. All right, and then we're going to do F. And then we're going to do another rest. Why not? We'll do G, high D. No, we'll do low D because we already had a high D. Doesn't matter. I could do low D or high D. And then I need a C, G sharp. You see now we're just going backwards through our tone row. So G sharp, since we're going backwards, I need a D sharp. I need an A sharp. Let's skip. We'll put a rest in. A sharp. And then I need an A. So A natural, because we need to put that in there. And we need F sharp. And let's do a cascade down. F sharp, E, B, C sharp, and we'll rest. So now I've got an instance going backwards. So I have the tone row from here to here going forwards, and then we're going to go backwards. So that's an F. We can do this F to go backwards. So we should go F, G, D, C, G sharp. You see I'm going backwards up here. D sharp, A natural, F sharp, E, B, C sharp. Now I've gone backwards for one instance of this tone row. So let's listen to the whole thing in order so far. So I have not really given much thought to the rhythms that I'm putting in there. You can put a lot of thought into the rhythms, and you can put as little thought as you want into the rhythms, as long as you have a mix of rests and rhythm notes, and you go in order either forwards or backwards. You can't skip notes. You can't start on a C sharp and go to A and then start going backwards. You have to complete one time through the row. So I'd have to do forward or prime 3 more times, and I have to fill up all these measures. The other thing we have to do is we have to add at least 5 dynamic markings and 5 articulations. So we'll just do that in these first 4. So remember, staccatos, accents, and legato. So I'm just going to put these 4 notes. I want to be staccato, and then I'm going to do some accents over here. There we go. So I already have 5 markings, and you can put as many as you want, and you have to have at least 5 though. And let's do 5 dynamics. So you can see we can get like super creative. Let's start loud. Let's start really loud, and then we're going to go to we'll crescendo, decrescendo, which means get quieter, all the way to here to go to very quiet. So I have 3 dynamic markings already. So you see how easily we can get going through here. We'll just go loud all the way through here, and we're going to do very quiet right here on this note. So loud, 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 quiet. So I have 5 dynamic markings in the first 6 measures. So it's really easy. Add as much as you want and get creative. So let's listen to it now that we've added this stuff in here. Gotta go back to the beginning. All right, sorry, I was talking. Back to the beginning. Here we go. And there you go. So I've already completed most of the assignment, and I'm going to give this a witty title. So I'm going to put some text in here. So let's add some text. I'm going to add a subtitle on my thing, or you can just put a text box in. I'm going to put jumping around. That's my title to add to it. So now I would just go through and finish the rest of these measures with going forwards or backwards through my tone row, and then putting accents or staccatos or dynamic markings on there just to make them interesting. So just to recap, you have to go in the order of the tone row. You can't skip any notes. So you have to go left to right or right to left. And then you have to use different rhythms and different rests, and you have to fill up 32 measures. And as you're going through that, you can just cross off. We've done this, so let's cross that off. We've done this. You just go through and print this off, or just pull it up like I have, and just cross off the requirements that you need. So I'm doing all this so far. 5 dynamic markings with the expression tool, 5 articulation settings. So you can see we have a tempo. I've pretty much done all this stuff except fill up the whole song. So there you go. If you have any questions, email me or message me, and have fun composing.